global blackout and water shut down overnight. Only my house is brightly lit. The neighbors walked out of their houses one after another, all complaining. The water and electricity have been cut off in -80 degrees weather. People might freeze to death. The extreme cold weather came so suddenly that nobody even bought instant noodles in advance. We might not freeze to death, but we'll definitely starve. But I rely on being the warehouse manager. I have stocked up on supplies for 2.5 years. In my last life, I was county at home playing games. My door was suddenly knocked. At first glance, turns out Fan Yiqing, the goddess I've been pursuing for 3 years. I prepared a week's worth of food to give to her. Suddenly, hundreds of neighbors rushed in behind her, not only taking all my belongings, but also cruelly planning to dismember me for stew. The goddess still boasts that it was her who tricked me into opening the door and then took away my arm. In extreme pain, I died full of resentment, silently vowed in my heart that if there is a next life, I will repay it 100-fold. No surprises. I was reborn. Look at the date on the phone. I actually reincarnated back to 1 month before the apocalypse. In that case, I will live well in this life and slowly seek revenge on those heartless animals. Dealing with the scarcity of resources and ensuring our own safety in the face of the apocalypse is our top priority now. You must first build an impenetrable safe house, and then stock up on enough supplies for the sea. Just as I'm pondering, the eye suddenly flashed a blue light. The blue light instantly tears into an endless space. It looks like the gamma rays from the previous life passed through the blue star, causing his body to mutate and develop extraordinary powers. Now with this boundless extra space, we have enough to store goods for 10 lifetimes. I just had a bold plan in my mind to use my position as the warehouse manager of Walmart in the South China region to empty the entire supermarket warehouse. With that, I estimate we would have enough supplies to last for at least 10 lifetimes. My stomach suddenly growled. Suddenly arrived at the Michelin 5-star restaurant that I couldn't dare to visit in my past life. Found a window seat and ordered all the signature dishes. This time she was suddenly surprised to find that the no-good Zhang Yi was actually inside, with a large table of top-quality food in front of him. The waiter thought I was as hungry as a bear. This scene happened to be seen by Fan Yiqing, who was passing by. She and her best friend have always wanted to dine at this kind of upscale restaurant, but their tight budget has held them back. Still, they couldn't help but gaze inside every time with longing in their eyes. This time she was suddenly surprised to find that the no-good Zhang Yi was actually inside, with a large table of top-quality food in front of him. Fan's eyes lit up at the sight, and he couldn't wait to rush in and share a meal with this loser right away. Fan Yiqing is a gold digger who is determined to marry rich, but she is always flirting with Zhang Yi, leading him on as a backup, while he has his own house and car. Her girlfriend beside her is also shocked. This suitor is not simple, This table at least 100,000 or so. Invisible rich second generation, After finishing my meal and drink, I was about to leave when the waiter unexpectedly chased after me and shouted, "Sir, if your single purchase exceeds 50,000, this VIP card will be given to you. Welcome back next time." At that moment, a familiar voice beside him called out to him. What a coincidence. Zhang Yi, where are you heading to? I took a closer look and realized it's indeed the woman who tore out my rib in a past life to make soup. Well, in that case, I'll just play along with you. Thinking about this, I took out a gift card and said I'm going to the supermarket to buy some things. The woman quickly volunteered to help and said, I can come along and offer some free labor. No need to waste it. I just want to let them know that I have enough supply stocked up in case of an apocalypse, so they'll rely on me. But they also set a condition, which is that I treat them to a Michelin 5-star restaurant next time. I neither agreed nor declined, just playing you guys along. I quickly pushed the full carts of supplies back to the community, and then Mrs. Lin from the neighborhood committee came over. That lady is not a good person. She caused me a lot of trouble in the neighborhood in the past life. Hey, Xiaozhang, I heard your warehouse has some low-priced items for sale again. Can you share some with me? While she was talking, her grandson grabbed a piece of imported chocolate from her arms. I just snatched it back. This is for me to eat. If your grandson wants to eat, he can buy it himself. Auntie Lin's arrogant grandson threatened to beat me to death. I won't let him. Say one more word and I'll slap you. The grandson was instantly scared and started crying loudly. Lin's aunt comforted the grandson while expressing her anger. What harm can it do to give a kid some chocolate? Worst case scenario, I'll give you money. I immediately displayed the payment QR code. Imported chocolate costs 800 per piece. Pay up or get lost. Auntie Lin also warned me. She said, I am a member of the neighborhood committee. Let's see how you'll survive in the community from now on. When I got home, two materialistic women were still trying to county up to me at the door. I firmly declined after slamming the door. Right after that, I quickly stored the supplies in the alternate space and was ready to test how well they were preserved. Next, we need to fortify the safe house. We'll go crazy stocking up on supplies, but we can't forget essentials like medicine, heating devices, and defensive weapons. In that case, I don't think the 3 million in my account will be enough. Looks like we need to sell off assets first to raise some money. The next day, I took out the supplies that had been deposited in the alien space. The vegetables and meat remain unchanged. Although the fish is dead, it is still very fresh. It seems like time in the alternate space is relatively frozen, so I can't move into the other dimension by myself. Since it's already cooked, I'll just reheat the meal I prepared earlier. Upon thinking about it, I immediately booked 800 tables for a banquet at the most upscale hotel in town. Then I went to the bank and took out a $6 million mortgage on the house my parents left me. Having spent $1 million on the banquet, having only $800,000 left seems a bit insufficient. As I stand in front of the bank, I am lost in thought, calculating my next move. Suddenly, a man with sharp features stopped me and said, "Hey, young man, is it difficult to get a bank approval? Do you want to give our company a try?" I thought to myself, here comes the man who gave me the money so soon. When I got to their stall, I asked to borrow $5 million and agreed to pay back $10 million in 3 months. They thought they had encountered a big misunderstanding. Instead, I'm thinking, you guys lived through the frozen doomsday first, and now I should have enough money to build a safe house. Next, I arrived at the largest security company in the state, which serves clients from various fields, including government officials and celebrities. In his previous life, they had built a tens of billions of dollars safe house for a rich kid, which was said to be able to even carry a nuclear bomb level attack. A safe house is usually a standalone villa, and this one is on the 24th floor. It's their first time. I want to stay in the neighborhood and slowly get revenge on those scumbags who betrayed me in the past. The plan has been finalized quickly. I've decided to increase the budget by $2 million and start working immediately, working day and night with overtime. I plan to deliver in 15 days. The security company doesn't know why this 180 square feet suite is designed this way, but just pay the money. Wolf Warrior Security Company did not ask too many questions. Later, I bought a large quantity of cold weapons from friends. After all, I manage the warehouse myself, and I still have connections for various supplies. At that moment, the 800 tables of banquet I ordered just arrived at the neighborhood. My neighbors thought I was crazy when they saw the situation. They mocked me but couldn't help but sigh. A meal cost me $1 million. Yika is really good at hiding his true abilities. Fang Yiqing was once again shocked to find out that the guy she kept as a backup turned out to be a rich second generation. I can see right through what that cheap woman is up to. Just wait and see. After doomsday, I will personally send this scheming woman to hell. Then I stored all the delicious food in a different dimension. This should be enough to last a few lifetimes. My neighbor thinks I've gone crazy with all the frenzy, but little do they know that the Ice Age is only 10 days away from arriving. Let's see who will be the joke in the end. The security manager messaged that the weapons you need are ready to be sourced, but they are a bit pricey. Money is not a problem for me. The last thing to do next is finding a chance to move all the goods from the Wadama South warehouse. We will never finish using all the supplies here in a lifetime. In a few days, the firearms will be ready too. The safe house has been completed. The security company has installed over 300 surveillance cameras throughout the entire building to ensure the safety of the clients, providing a comprehensive view of each floor. I am happy to confirm the receipt and promise to pay the remaining $5 million in 3 months, but I doubt you'll live that long. Right at this moment, the last few bottles of water I ordered have been delivered to the residential area. The neighbors are all talking about it, saying that Changyi is really sick. We live in Tanhai City, which is by the sea, stockpiling water. Isn't that absurd? Even Uncle Yu, who helped me in my past life, is puzzled but is still decided to help me with the move. Uncle Yu is one of the few really nice people in the neighborhood. I have decided to give him a heads up. The temperature has been a bit unusual this year. I think we might have a tough winter ahead. I suggest Uncle stock up on instant noodles, mineral water, and such. They won't go bad easily anyway. Uncle Yu was half skeptical. The old man next to me overheard and stepped forward. If you're sick, take your medication. Stop wandering around buying things all day with a confused look on your face. Now suddenly, you want to drag others down and create panic. Do you really want to be invited to the police station for a chat? I shook my head in resignation. I've already given the necessary reminders. Whether you believe or not is up to you. I'm going to spend all the money I have left before the time runs out. Exercise your body and practice using firearms in the meantime. Ice Apocalypse countdown 3 days. I've decided to use a direct approach to clear out the Ward Masaf warehouse. I bought 10 bottles of sleeping pills. I put a candy in each cup beforehand during the night shift co-workers' tea break. After the medicine took effect, all my colleagues fell to the ground and couldn't get up. I will shut down all the monitoring systems immediately. Then we arrived at the warehouse. Raise your left hand gently. The entire shelf was instantly sucked into a different dimension. And just like that, we emptied the entire warehouse without anyone noticing. Something in the corner of the room caught my attention. When I opened it, it turned out to be the latest high-tech Arctic cold weather gear. Wearing it to the Arctic to catch penguins is a piece of cake. This arrived just in time, all collected in my pocket. I then also swallowed half a sleeping pill and pretended to sleep. It's simply not possible for one person to empty this huge warehouse in such a short time. You don't have to worry at all about anyone suspecting me. I don't know how long it had been when my colleague woke me up loudly. I can't believe it. Our warehouse has been completely emptied by someone. I pretend to be surprised, and then he goes to the warehouse and puts on a show pretending to work hard. After all, it's a supply worth billions. As his supervisor, I reported the situation to my superiors as soon as possible. Colleagues are all afraid of taking responsibility, but if you think about it, this is not something that a few people can handle at all. With a salary of 1,800, there's no need to overwork. Just stay honest and true, and you won't have to worry about others' opinions. 2 days left until the frown doomsday. The sky has started to drift down snowflakes the size of fingernails. I am fully enjoying the peaceful street because only I know what will happen in the early morning 2 days from now. A supernova exploded 100 light years away. The gamma rays passing through the blue star only lasted for 3 seconds. This scene in the early morning didn't attract much attention to this subtle change, but it has brought devastating catastrophes to this planet, turning this beautiful world into something unrecognizable. Global frontseen doomsday. What had to happen has finally happened. In the southern city of Tianhai, it suddenly started snowing miraculously. The neighbors are discussing enthusiastically in the homeowners group. Some people even went out to build snowmen, but only I knew that this was just the beginning. Why I have no idea what the final outcome will be. The next morning, the accumulated snow is over 1 meter high. Residents on the ground floor cannot open their doors anymore. The temperature is dropping rapidly. Even turning the air conditioning to the highest setting doesn't help. But at this moment, I am comfortably falling asleep in my safe house. After all, this mattress is a celebrity-endorsed model worth $500,000. I was suddenly woken up by a phone call. Turns out it was Sunny, the materialistic girl, already asking for resources. I immediately sneered inwardly and hung up the phone, not willing to talk to her for now. After a relaxing hot bath, I casually brought out a premium steak from another dimension. Let's just have a simple breakfast with steak and red wine. I turned on the TV and switched to the morning news. It just got colder now, but there hasn't been any power outage or signal loss yet. Even if there is a power outage, I have prepared down scenes of generators and plenty of gasoline, so using them for hundreds of years is not a problem at all. The news keeps emphasizing that the snow disaster will soon pass. Please don't panic or engage in looting for supplies. I'm the only one who knows about this. In this icy apocalypse, survival depends on oneself. Those who stay at home obediently and do nothing are often the first to freeze to death. I thought about it and excitedly opened my phone to see what jokes my neighbors were talking about before. Just got a message from Fang Yiqing. Why did you hang up the phone? You've stocked up so much supplies. Can you give me some first? I'll pay you back after the heavy snow. As soon as I thought about how she deceived and killed me in my past life, even using my rib to make soup, a sinister smile appeared on my face. Then she took a selfie with the steak and red wine on her table, intentionally including herself in pajamas in the photo. I then sent it to her right away. I'm thinking, in this life, that bitch can forget about getting anything from me. At that moment, when she saw the photo, she couldn't help but drool. As a seasoned materialistic woman, she could tell at a glance that the steak was authentic top-grade Wagyu beef, and the red wine was a 1,983 lafai worth tens of thousands. They promptly sent me a message saying they also want to have steak and red wine. Since Fan has made it so obvious, this jerk will definitely come knocking on the door right away. Right when I saw the message, I burst out laughing like a barbell. They really thought of me as a flatterer from past lives. Then I casually replied with 5 words. If you want to eat, go to the supermarket and buy it yourself. She was really annoyed, but she managed to hold back from exploding because after all, she had been taking care of this fish for so long. At this point, I decided to turn on the surveillance system. Just saw Aunt Lin from the neighborhood committee blocking the entrance gate. She warned everyone not to snatch supplies and disturb the order. Otherwise, after the snow disaster, the organization will definitely hold individuals accountable. She mentioned that extreme weather will pass in a few days. Instead, I looked at the monitor and laughed out loud because I was the only one who knew that this snow was going to last for 6 months, and now was nearly the last chance to stock up on supplies. The neighbors also stepped forward to argue against it, saying if we don't stock up now, we might not be able to afford it in a few days. But Auntie Lin continues to use trivial matters as a threat, saying, if anyone dares to go out, I will report to the authorities. At that moment, as I was going downstairs, I loudly called out from the crowd, Anlin, do you know how long this snow is going to last? If we run out of food, can you handle that responsibility? The neighbors echoed in agreement, leaving Anlin unable to argue. She thought to herself, this kid didn't give me a leg up to my face. I have to find a chance to detain him later. She immediately pointed at me and said firmly, Zhang Yi, you were inciting people at this moment with malicious intent. You were breaking the law and discipline. I just waved my hand and said, I can't afford to wear this fancy hat. I'm not going out in this awful weather. You guys go ahead. I took the elevator back to the room right away. A few more days have passed. I am still leisurely playing games. Received a message suddenly, and then asked Zhang Yi to go downstairs and shovel the snow directly. Apart from Zhang Yi, Anlin also informed a few other honest people in the building. I think we should wait until the snow stops before shoveling. Right now, Anlin is shivering by the fire in the room. A few other neighbors who were called also responded, saying, we are in the south and don't have proper warm clothes. If we go out, we will definitely get frostbite. Anlin was instantly so angry that she felt hurt. This guy again led the way in arguing against me, and then she started using the same old excuses again. They said the neighborhood committee ordered me to immediately go out and clear the snow. In times of crisis, we need to stand together. Otherwise, once the snow disaster is over, there will definitely be consequences from the organization. I saw the message and chuckled. That Aunt Ling is really funny. Today, I'm going to completely cut ties with her. Why don't you take the lead and go out to shovel snow as a member of the neighborhood committee? Moreover, you only called us a few honest folks. Do you think we are easy targets because of that? Why don't you notify Chen Jianhao and Su Hao? Chen Jianhao is a socialite with a few hundred henchmen under his command. Su Hao is a second-generation rich, and this neighborhood is just a meeting spot for him and his lover. In my past life, it was Chen Jianhao who wielded the axe to chop me, and Su Hao also took part in dismembering me. Almost all the neighbors came to my house and had a share. Since we've already gone this far, I'll see it through to the end. Auntie Lin had no choice but to notify the other two in the group. Chen Jianhao, upon seeing the situation, immediately cursed loudly in a voice message. If you bother me again, I'll make sure you regret it. Su Hao was also very straightforward, asking, what qualifications do you have to order me around? A middle-aged woman like you, have you taken all the property management fees to feed the dogs, taking the homeowners' money every day and acting like you own the place? Do you really think you're the boss of the neighborhood? It's just ridiculous. After that, they didn't forget to take a photo with their lover and post it. Ann Ling got so angry that she was almost sick, and then she vented all her anger on me. Right after that, he sent me a stream of abusive messages in private chat. I scolded back. If you still bite and scream at me, I'll kill you. Anlin suddenly dared not say more. There was a sudden urgent knocking on the door outside. It's Chen Jianhao. I just made a joke about him in the group chat, and he felt offended. He came to my door and threatened to kill me. In this situation, I'm not planning to stay either. It's either you or me anyway. Not to mention, this time I'm not afraid of you at all. I then took out my crossbow and prepared to shoot it. But then again, I thought I shouldn't let this guy off easy. I'll keep him around to torture slowly. I then aimed at his calf and shot an arrow. The arrow pierced straight through his calf. Watching him roll around on the floor through the cat's eyes, I felt secretly satisfied. His leg is probably crippled. Without proper treatment, it will get infected soon and ultimately lead to a miserable death in the cold. Chen Jianhao also felt the murderous intent at that moment. Everyone in the neighborhood had been in awe of him for 5 years, and yet this guy actually managed to hurt him. It looks like the ambulance won't be able to come to the hospital. Chen Jianhao decided to perform the surgery himself to save his leg. After all, he has been around in society for so many years. He then took out alcohol wipes from the drawer. My calf is completely numb, which happens to be just right. He didn't even need anesthesia. Whoosh! The arrow was successfully pulled out. The pain almost made him pass out. Chen Jianhao immediately picked up his phone and made a tough statement in the group. Zhang Yi, you just wait for me. If I don't take you down, then I'm not Chen Jianhao. I responded directly and confidently to the situation. If you dare come and try again, I won't hesitate to disable your other leg as well. All the neighbors in the group were shocked. They actually dared to go to war directly with the big boss. At this moment, Chen Jianhao called his underlings and told everyone to bring weapons to my neighborhood immediately. Go and beat Zhang Yi to death. The younger ones dare not slack off at all, braving the heavy snowstorm and carrying a big knife. I'll be on the scene in just 3 minutes. Chen Jianhao was yelling frantically. That grandson is in room 2401. Smash open his door and take him down. A few guys came to my door and started banging on it like crazy. I'm playing a game and watching the security cameras. I really don't want to deal with them. Just saw a bald guy swing a big knife down. The 2.5 meter steel knife instantly turned into pieces. The door is actually made of pure metal, which left everyone dumbfounded. But now, going back, we can't even explain it to the boss. I can only continue to shout crazily at the door. door. I can see everything they do clearly on the surveillance camera. During the game's respawn time, I picked up a roll of hose and hooked it up to the faucet and stuck the other end through the fiery hole. And the punks, thinking I was going to do the same thing again, then blocked the pans they had already prepared in front of their bodies. In the next moment, a stream of water sprayed out, almost turning them into ice sculptures. The temperature outside is minus 80 degrees Celsius. When water sprays on your body, it immediately turns into ice. It feels so refreshing and chilling. A group of lackeys had to sneak away dejectedly. I continued humming a tune and waited for the next round of the game. Chen Zhenhao was furious when he saw several people returning in a sorry state. You guys are losers. You can't even handle this. But they're hiding each other with their snotty noses and tears. That guy's door is at least a few hundred tons thicker than a bank vault door, and he's letting the water spray us. Chen Zhenhao suddenly remembered that the door did seem quite extraordinary, but I don't believe he can keep hiding and not come out. You guys take turns guarding his door, and as soon as you see him come out, beat him up for me. They won't know that I've got a whole Valdemar's worth of supply stashed in my house. I'm not afraid of them at all. The snow downstairs is already higher than a person, and the neighbors that Anlin persuaded to shovel snow have run out of energy. The snow isn't falling fast enough to cover the ground properly. How could they have known that this snow would last for 6 months? It's just a futile effort. Soon they could only return home disappointed. The news is now broadcasting the disaster situation repeatedly. Other countries are facing more severe snow disasters. They are not well prepared for snow disaster prevention and control. There are already hundreds of millions of people affected, with tens of millions of deaths. Our officials are actively devising strategies to combat the disaster, hoping everyone stays calm and waits for the arrival of dawn. However, I yawned inside, feeling that the outside world is still too optimistic about it, totally underestimating the scale and duration of this snow disaster. At this moment, Anlin is making her presence felt in the homeowners group chat again. Out of the blue, Fang Yiqing sent me a message to ask how I'm doing and show care. In my previous life, as her #1 suitor, I ended up dying a horrible death by her. This time around, I've decided to play a little trick on it. She's indeed here to ask for supplies. I took a picture of a big Australian lobster and sent it to him. I've already eaten. That annoying woman and her bestie were grinding their teeth in anger, and that clueless fat nerd just didn't get it. This guy needs to be put on the back burner. At that time, her best friend started sending me messages, telling me to take advantage of the snowstorm, to be more attentive to Fang Yiqing, so that I can capture the beauty's heart. How can I feel your sincerity when you're not even willing to give a little bit of resources? I chuckled and replied coldly, with just one word, haha. Seeing that I didn't fall for it at all, the two of them decided to activate No to ask Kisser Chopin. Chopin is not on the same level as me. He went to great lengths to rent a place in this neighborhood, just to be close to Fang Yiqing. He is Fang Yiqing's most loyal hound. He's so devoted to her that he'd probably offer his rib to make a soup for her at any moment. When the goddess called to ask for supplies, Chopin immediately sprang into action and moved all his belongings to Fang Yiqing as if he was energized. Fang Yiqing rarely gave a smile to Chopin with a hint of sweetness. After a loud bang of the door closing, he was sent away. As soon as he stepped back inside, he'd put on a different face. He dares to have illusions about me with that kind of demeanor. He should take a good look at himself in the mirror. It has been 5 days like this. I know the show is about to begin. Following the memories of my past life, the power should be going out soon. Right, sure enough, that night, the whole world experienced a blackout and water outage. I was relaxing and playing games in the house. The neighbors in the hallway are looking at each other in confusion. But little do they know that my home is as warm as spring, just because I knew everything beforehand. Take out a loan of 1 billion to turn the house into a super secure home. Only I understand it clearly. This extreme cold disaster of minus 80 degrees is simply not something that human effort can solve. Major hydropower plants have already stopped working, and other power plants will soon be unable to continue operating due to a shortage of personnel. The priority for nuclear power plants is to supply electricity to government facilities. When local energy storage is depleted, power outages are inevitable. Just 3 days later, when everyone was plunged into darkness, I had already turned on to silent generators in advance, leisurely playing games and singing in the room. The water and power outage finally made everyone realize the severity of the disaster. The baby formula cannot be dissolved at all. The air conditioner and heater are completely unusable. The temperature inside the house is minus 30 degrees Celsius. If it continues like this, people will freeze to death soon. Some people are still counting on official rescue. Little do people know that even the authorities are struggling to protect themselves. At this moment, only the reborn me has everything prepared in advance. I know that doomsday has arrived, and we have lost access to food and water and electricity. Humanity will soon be facing widespread death. Someone in the homeowner group has already messaged Mrs. Lin. She was the one who wouldn't let everyone stock up on supplies before. Now it's your turn to say something. At this moment, Aunt Lin was also panicking, feeling more scared than her neighbors, because she has just got some inside information through the neighborhood committee. The superiors have indicated that this may be a snow disaster that occurs once every 100,000 years, and it could be a mass extinction event. Most cities around the world have fallen. We have to rely on ourselves to survive now. And Len has come up with another sneaky plan. She didn't truthfully inform all the homeowners about the notice from the higher-ups, and instead used her same old excuses that never fail. They are shamelessly claiming that disasters are temporary. Everyone must obey the unified management of the neighborhood committee, hand over supplies to the committee for unified distribution, and call it getting through tough times together. If you don't cooperate, you might face arrest and interrogation by the police after the disaster. As soon as these words were spoken, it immediately sparked discontent among all the homeowners, which is a blatant threat to them. Chen Zhenhao was furious after reading the message. That old thing never solves any problems, but still dares to act all high and mighty. And now his henchmen are even worse off. Several of them have developed high fevers without any medicine. They can only huddle together to keep warm and endure the hardship. I just stretched after getting tired from playing games inside the house. I chuckled when I saw Aunt Lin using the same old trick as she did in our past life. And Lin noticed that no one in the group responded to the request for donations. She actually started scheming against me. She knows that I bought 3 loads of supplies a few days ago and gently hinted that she wanted me to hand them over. She also mentioned that she would report to the authorities and recommend me for an award after the disaster. I snorted in derision. She had tricked me like this in my past life. Create panic in the owners group first, and then privately message some timid individuals to deceive and intimidate them into handing over supplies. After all, as long as Lin can deceive a family's resources, and Lin can survive a few more days. I just finished eating and playing games, so I lazily replied, "I've run out of supplies. Please remember to give me someone distributing them." Aunt Lin was instantly furious when she heard that. Why is she preempting my prediction again? In my previous job as a warehouse supervisor, I often helped my neighbors find many good quality and affordable discounted items. As an internal employee, I have the right of first refusal. She thinks that I must have a lot of supplies. Aunt Lin is sure that I am definitely an easy target. Take a deep breath 100 times to calm down. Hey Zhao-san, this time you really need to broaden your horizons. It's all to follow the orders from the organization. All your contributions and efforts will be remembered. We all know you are the warehouse supervisor at the big supermarket, so getting some supplies should be easy for you. Please take the lead and bring the supplies over. I just finished eating a whole roasted lamb, and now I'm out of supplies. Can you show some organizational spirit and give me a few packets of instant noodles to eat? And Lin suddenly changed her attitude and started shouting angrily, saying that you refused to comply with the organization's orders. This is openly defying the organization, and you will definitely be dealt with. I jokingly replied in a casual manner. What's your full name? You're not really thinking of yourself as a government official, are you? You are just a temporary worker, running errands for the neighborhood committee, pretending to represent the organization. Shame on you. Your job is to serve the homeowners, but you really act like you're the leader of the community. So, how are you planning to deal with me? Old man, I heartlessly exposed the true colors of Aunt Lin, and then turned around to blacklist her. Aunt Lin almost had a stroke from anger. Aunt Lin, who always thinks of herself as the leader of the neighborhood, couldn't handle this frustration. She has no choice but to endure silently when she cannot guarantee her own safety. And Lin immediately called the owners she thought had supplies one by one. In a building with over 100 households, there are still a few kind-hearted and naive people who actually fall for it and go to deliver supplies. I can see everything clearly through the surveillance at home. I laugh at their ignorance while eating noodles, but in a few days, I won't even have time to cry. 2 more days have passed quickly. The neighborhood group is getting lively again. The neighbor who was scammed of supplies has already started asking Lin's family how they are. What about the agreed unified deployment? Auntie Lin looked at the information but didn't say a word. When she decided to cheat on the supplies, she had already anticipated this situation. Thinking about these idiots, there's no way I'm giving away the stuff I conned with my skills. At this moment, and Lin's phone suddenly rang. It turns out it's Chen Zhenhao. She doesn't dare not to answer the bully's call. Chen Zhenhao started cursing directly, saying, "You old man, you have some nerve to cheat your neighbors out of their supplies." And Lin was trembling with fear, but then she hypocritically responded that she was just coordinating and managing supplies for everyone, which is her job. Chen Jianhao said, "They are short of supplies. Please deliver them to me quickly." And Lin continues to show off, "We still need to coordinate the supplies for now, and there are still many people who have not turned in their supplies. There is no distribution plan at the moment." Chen Jianhao is getting impatient and actually trying to brush me off with such a lame excuse. "Stop being shameless. Hand over everything quickly. Either you bring it over, either I bring 20 people with me, or I come alone." Chen Jianhao quickly arrived at Aunt Lin's house with his can, and they barged in directly. The man slapped Aunt Lin's face without saying a word. "Shameless jerk, daring to deceive our neighbors for their belongings. Today, my brother Hao Gao will seek justice." I saw everything clearly while I was enjoying my sausage. When building the safe house, the security company aimed at ensuring the absolute safety of the clients. That entire building is equipped with a surveillance system with 500 cameras covering almost 360 degrees of the whole neighborhood. I've come up with a plan, and there will be some great drama on the 5th day of the Francine apocalypse. Both of them happen to be people I really dislike, so I'll just post this video in the homeowners group. The neighbors will definitely cheer and clap for it. Chen Jianhao ordered to take away all the supplies, which were hard-earned by the neighbors. How could he take advantage of this old lady? At that moment, Aunt Lin had fallen to the ground, and Chen Jianhao was planning not to leave her any food. She crawled over, hugging Chen Jianhao's thigh, and cried her heart out. "Take away the neighbor's supplies, not the ones I stocked up. Please leave a way out for me and my grandson." Chen Jianhao's leg was never fully healed. I was just massaged by Aunt Lin for a while. I instinctively kicked it over. "Stop talking and just get out of here." Lin Mama screamed like a pig before passing out. Grandson saw his snacks being stolen. He immediately grabbed a small knife and shouted, "You bunch of thieves! Why are you trying to steal my chocolate?" The next second, a knife stabbed into a man's butt. The bald man turned around and was surprised to see a child. Randomly, a lightning 5-kick combo suddenly kicked the child, and they flew 5 meters. The other guys praised him a lot, saying, "Well, good, you've got great skills." At this moment, Aunt Lin, who was pretending to be dead, cried out in despair, "How could you be so cruel? My grandson is only 6 years old." Chen Jianhao looks self-righteous and says, "This is your own fault. You should have deceived the neighbors. I'm just doing what's right." Everyone picked up their loot and left triumphantly. I recorded the whole process and shared it with the homeowner group. The neighbors who were cheated in the homeowners group are still cursing Lin and even more. So, after watching the video, calling her a shameless old lady, even though they knew Chen Jianhao wouldn't share the supplies with them, seeing someone stand up to those who deceived them, for a moment, they saw Chen Jianhao as a hero fighting against evil. Chen Jianhao really gained both fame and fortune this time. Only I know this now. If it treats Aunt Lin like this today, he will enter other people's homes in the same way in the future. But these are not related to me anymore. Not long from now. Desperate, Aunt Lin posted a plea for help in the group chat. I admit it was wrong of me to deceive everyone, but my grandson is innocent. He was badly injured by Chen Jianhao and urgently needs medical treatment and medication. I bowed to my neighbors. The homeowners have grown extremely annoyed with her. Instead of offering help, they have started to coldly mock her. At this moment, a neighbor named Zhou Kar sent a message offering to perform surgery on Lin Xiaoho. The image of Zhou Kar as a mature older sister comes to mind. She is a doctor at the City People's Hospital, and in the previous life, she saved many people. She is one of the few good neighbors. Shortly after, Dr. Zhou also sent a message in the group, letting us know that she had temporarily helped Lin Xiaohu deal with his injuries, but it probably won't last long, so I'll need surgery at the hospital later on. As Dr. Zhou mentioned, if neighbors need help when they are sick, they can ask her for assistance. I admire Dr. Zhou's compassion as a doctor, but I fear it may all be in vain. The situation of the snow disaster is getting worse instead of improving. Even if rescued, they won't live long. The 7th day of Francine Doomsday. Today, the heavy snow has almost submerged the ground floor. The neighbors are slowly realizing the terror of this snow disaster. Waiting for official rescue is like a fantasy. There have been complaints all over the internet. The whole world has turned white, with temperatures dropping to more than -100 degrees in the north. Residents in the north were unable to evacuate in time, buried forever in the midst of a blizzard. At this moment, Aunt Lin is trying to stand out in the group chat again. Her food was plundered by Chen Jianhao. The grandson is lying there barely breathing. At this point, Aunt Lin is already in a state of mental confusion and delirium, imagining herself to be the head of the neighborhood committee. Let everyone contribute supplies, then turn around and say, "We can buy them at a high price." One homeowner responded, "I have a few packs of instant noodles left at home. I can sell them for 1,000 yuan per pack to anyone who wants them." As soon as these words were spoken, the atmosphere in the homeowners group instantly changed subtly. Single mom Sherry said, "I want to buy." Rich second generation Su Hao said, "I'll pay 2,000 bucks for it." "How many do you have? I want them all." I was looking at the messages in the group chat and found it quite interesting. Looks like a big drama is about to unfold again. The information from Su Hao has instantly stirred up the homeowners. Some people are money-minded, while others are more cautious. Someone also mocked in a voice message. It's not like we're in a zombie apocalypse. It's just a heavy snowfall. No need to be like this. I was eating a chicken leg heartily at that moment, chuckling and shaking my head. Zombie apocalypse is nothing compared to the icy Armageddon we're facing now. At least against zombies, we have manpower to fight back. Humans are completely defenseless in the face of such natural disasters. The rich kid seems to have realized this and is planning to use cash to stock up on supplies as much as possible. However, this method did work at this time. Single mother Sherry started crying in the group. My daughter is only 9 months old. No food means no breast milk. Buying this is a lifesaver. I looked at the information and fell into contemplation. In my memory, in her past life, she lived a long life with her daughter. She was definitely not an ordinary weak woman. It seems that in her past life, she survived by using her daughter to gain sympathy and obtain resources. The 10th day of this apocalypse, I just took out a large plate of chicken and some dessert from another dimension, ready to set down the dumbbell in my hand and start eating. I couldn't help but laugh when Fan Yichin called me. Are these two materialistic girls going to bow down to me? I immediately started a video call and showed them the table full of delicious food. Two obnoxious women drooled half a meter long, thinking, can't believe this fat nerd still has so much food. With a flirtatious tone, she said, Big brother Zhang, your family has so many resources. Why are you still sweating? Is your place really warm? It's alright. It's just that my house has a fireplace installed in advance, and now it's too hot. They were stunned when they saw the scene. Food and fireplace. The two naughty ladies can no longer contain themselves. He immediately had a look of drooling and longing on his face. Zhang, can I stay at your place? I can help you with many things. Fan Yichin is a master at seducing men. In her past life's memories, she had many suitors eking out of the palm of her hand with this trick. That includes me too. Fan Yichin was so confident that she thought as long as she made a little effort, I would definitely be happy to agree to her request. But I replied casually, with a hint of sarcasm, saying, I heard it's really cold outside. Maybe it's better not to run around. Seeing how coldly I've been rejected, Fan Yichin couldn't hold back anymore. I'm practically offering myself on a platter, and you're still playing hard to get. Do I really have to spell it out so bluntly for you? Immediately she burst out swearing. Zhang, you've gone too far. I joked and smiled. Oh, so you're not pretending anymore. You only come to act all sweet when you see some benefit to gain from me. Huh, why haven't I seen you hanging out with those rich kids before? Are you trying to fool me again? And besides, we're not close, so what's the deal with you staying at my place? I hung up the phone right after finishing talking. Fan angrily slammed the phone down. Who does this damn backup think he is? With no shame at all, her best friend, Lin Kainan, mocked her. If you had caught this big fish earlier, we would be living in Zhang house by now, and we would still be freezing and starving here. He's much more popular now than those rich second generations. Are you still trying to act aloof here? Upon hearing the words, Fang came charging fiercely. Two plastic sisters suddenly started fighting each other. At this point, the officials on TV were also constantly reassuring the residents. The news anchor's tone is becoming increasingly fearful compared to previous reports. Official notice. There will be power supply from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. daily. Please do not use high-power electrical appliances during this time. To avoid being blacklisted and facing permanent power cut, the homeowners group is lively again, and the price of instant noodles has gone up from 2,000 to 5,000 since yesterday. I was so saddened by this act, and now some people are still trading goods for money, which is really hard to understand. But no matter what, life goes on, even if just to survive. Some people rely on medical technology to exchange for goods. Some people rely on their financial capabilities. The plastic sisters were at the end of the rope, and at that moment, they hatched a vicious plan in their hearts. That's to get rid of me and take over my house. She immediately called her top pursuer, Chopin. Chopin, feeling excited when he saw the goddess needed him, forgot about the cold and hurried over. As soon as he saw Chopin, the woman immediately started her performance. That bastard Zhang Yi, I just wanted to borrow some supplies from him, and he actually asked me to sleep with him for a night. Seeing the goddess in tears, like a pear blossom with rain, he was there for her right away as the man she could rely on. Chopin immediately thought, isn't this love? So, now it's time to show my masculinity. Fang Qin, seizing the opportunity, grabbed Chopin's arm and said, Bro Pan, let's figure out a way to take over Zhang Yi's house. He has a lot of resources there. We can live together in that place. What do you think about that? Chopin couldn't resist this persuasive tactic. It even started thinking about names for the kids. Pick up the tool and say, there is absolutely no problem with this. 3 people quickly arrived at my doorstep. They planned to have Chopin trick me into opening the door and then capture me in one go. Immediately, Chopin pretended to knock on the door, and said he wanted to exchange ibuprofen for instant noodles with me. The ice apocalypse fever-reducing medicine is a rare item. Joe Pen only asked for 2 packets of instant noodles in exchange for it. Little did they know, I could see through all their tricks with the surveillance camera. Just the 3 of you want to kill me. Watch how I toy with you. I will spray them with water right away. But when I saw the bucket of dirty water in the corner, I changed my mind. Wake up and stay awake today. I aimed the hose at the target hole and said, sure, I agree. At this point, Joe Pen thought I was about to take the bait. He used his eyes to signal to 2 materialistic women to get ready, but what was coming towards us was a strange, sticky liquid. I only realized it was sewage after coming to my senses and taking a sniff. 2 nasty women are spitting and cursing at the same time. Joe Pen lost face in front of his crush, and he was so angry that he went crazy and started banging on the door. I continued to taunt them, saying, aren't you guys short on supplies? Here, have some scraps and leftovers. Aren't you going to thank me? Enraged Joe Pen suddenly lifted the cleaver. There was a loud knock on my door. This is a door that can withstand a bomb. The force of this blow was like striking a steel plate. The huge impact sent the cleaver flying. Joe Pen's mouth was also shaken and bleeding profusely, rolling on the ground in pain. The 2 materialistic women abandoned Joe Pen and ran off. I couldn't help but laugh at this scene. What a bunch of incompetent fools. I returned to the sofa to continue playing games, thinking to myself that as long as I don't go out, you guys can't do anything to me. When will I get rid of all of you? Global Frouncing Doomsday Day 15. Supplies are extremely scarce. The son of a wealthy family is asking for 50,000 for a pack of instant noodles and 10,000 for a bottle of mineral water. The homeowners group is getting excited again, since being robbed by Chen Jianhao. And Len seems to be having some mental issues. She keeps sending voice messages in the homeowners group, demanding that everyone give her supplies, or else she will arrest and put them in jail after the disaster. Now everyone just sees it as a joke. Nobody pays her any attention. People are slowly realizing what the current environment is like nowadays. Everyone keeps on scolding her. If she had stopped us back then, we could have stored supplies for at least another 2 weeks. The homeowners are so angry for no reason. They wish she would freeze into a popsicle right away. Suddenly in the afternoon, there was a loud bang that echoed throughout the entire building. I was suddenly startled awake. The expression on the faces saw him, pondering if that was the sound of a gunshot. Get up and quickly opened the surveillance. The scene before his eyes gave him a start that Guy Chen Jianghao didn't die after all. This bully forced doctor showed to treat him carefully several times, through threats and exploiting resources. Now his leg injury is almost healed. They raided a lot of supplies from the neighbor on the 3rd floor. It's the warm afternoon now, and everyone is choosing this time to go out and dig snow to melt for drinking water. Chen Jianhao has spotted the opportunity. It seems like the resident on the 3rd floor doesn't have much time left. Even if the shot didn't hit a vital organ, they won't survive long without supplies. After looting the supplies, Chen Jianhao didn't plan to call it quits. He took out his phone and snapped 2 photos. Right after that, he posted a long audio message in the group. With the city now snowed in, we can only rely on ourselves. Reluctantly, I, Chen Jianhao, have taken on the role as the block leader of Building 25. From now on, everything in this building is under my authority. If you want to stay alive, it's best not to play tricks. Otherwise, you'll face the consequences. He then sent 2 pictures, one of him holding a gun. One image is of the 3rd floor neighbor, lying in a pool of blood. The group suddenly fell silent. As I brushed my teeth, I couldn't help but marvel at how cunning this guy is. He only has a pistol, so he must not have many bullets left. He only has 5 or 6 subordinates, and they're just a ragtag group. If you push the neighbors too much, they might not be able to fight back. This is to intimidate everyone. That old guy is indeed cunning, but all of this is none of my concern now. The neighbors suddenly started a new group again. The group is called Resist Chen Jianghao Homeowners Group. The neighbors are condemning Chen Jianghao's crimes and discussing uniting to fight against the bully. One neighbor indignantly said, so what if they have guns? We have more people. We can overpower them when the time comes. A neighbor, surnamed Ma, immediately responded with a left jab followed by a high kick, making sure they wouldn't stand a chance. Everyone seems to be discussing fervently how to deal with Chen Jianhao, as if they can't wait to take action and execute him immediately. At this moment, a neighbor said a sentence. When do we start? As soon as this was said, no one in the group responded. I laughed out loud, thinking to myself, who can talk the talk, right? Not everyone has the courage to take a bullet for others. Uncle Yu, who is usually quiet, suddenly spoke out, saying, Chen Jianhao, that bastard, if this continues, we will all die. I can take the lead. Everyone follow me and charge ahead. Uncle Yu is a straightforward retired veteran full of passion and is highly respected in the neighborhood. Faced with shameless scum like Chen Jianhao, his heart is already filled with anger. Neighbors in the group also echoed in agreement, especially Uncle Yu, who said he needed a dancing young man to join him. After all, Chen Zhenghao has a gun. At this moment, a beautiful lady in the group had her own opinion. Uncle Yu, stop pretending to be a good person. And Lin is deceiving everyone and taking away our supplies. If you, Uncle Yu, take people who can still fight to join Chen Zhenghao, then the rest of us, the elderly, weak, women, and children, are doomed. They say now women are more important in society, and men's only role is to serve women. Since he has military experience and is good at fighting, if there's a fight, Uncle Yu should go alone. The remaining men should stay to protect the women. And then added, those who don't understand this don't deserve to be called men. It's surprising that quite a few people actually agree with this. Uncle Yu's heart feels half cold. At one point, the neighborhood split into two factions, and I watched the drama unfold with great interest. After all, since entertainment options are limited now, it's quite amusing to watch them ranting hysterically in the homeowners group. Maybe after being repressed for so long, everyone finally found a way to let it all out, and for a moment, they forgot the original purpose of creating the group. I went to the kitchen while watching their jokes. Today I treated myself to some chicken and rice, but this time, what I made really doesn't taste good. At this moment, a loud gunshot rang out. I quickly checked the surveillance camera. It turns out that the henchmen of Chen Zhenghao seemed to have bitten the dust. I just remembered the other day when I accidentally sprayed them with water all over their body. Probably couldn't stand the extreme cold and frowned to death in the end. I just don't get why they left it at the hallway entrance instead of just tossing it out the window. A terrible thought crossed my mind. Are they leaving their bodies behind as spare food? The idea made my hair stand on end. Chen Zhenghao is also arranging everything. His henchmen also don't want to kill each other. Chen Zhenghao is experienced and likes to have a backup plan, even using a gun to intimidate his subordinates. After all, the ultimate goal is to help them live a little longer. Even Chen Zhenghao knows that without a gun in his hand, his followers might not obey him so readily. Only by sharing will and woe with our subordinates can we be considered as a team in the same boat. This time, I couldn't help but sigh. Chen Zhenghao is really ruthless. Now he can stock up without running out of food, and even use his own brother's body as reserves. It's truly chilling. Just don't mess with me again, or it won't be as simple as breaking a leg. The next day, we suddenly received an urgent call for help in the new group chat, and it was not from someone else. It's the beautiful girl, Liu Tiantian, from the group chat yesterday. She was screaming uncontrollably, saying that Chen Zhenghao was smashing her door. She retracted her assertive statements from yesterday, begging Uncle Yu to step forward and save her. Uncle Yu may be kind-hearted, but he's not foolish enough to go and die for nothing. If yesterday everyone united under his leadership against a common enemy, there would still be some hope of subduing Chen Zhenghao. No one responded in the group chat at this moment. Instead, there was a wave of mockery. Wasn't your martial arts skills sharp yesterday? Go show them who's boss. The door was knocked down very quickly. The neighborhood has been closed for 2 weeks. Chen Zhenghao and his brothers are all feeling uncomfortable. Liu Tiantian was taken away directly. Fang Yiqing and Lin Kaining were flustered when they saw the situation. They know that if they still can't move into my house, it might be their turn next. They called Zhou Pin again and came to Wang Mi's house on the 18th floor. Through Zhou Pin's connections, Wang Min is Zhou Pin's cousin, and she's an independent and strong-willed woman. Wang Min is living with some of his colleagues and friends. They have decided to stick together for warmth. The reason why Wang Min agreed to let Fan Yiqing and her move in is because they promised to convince me, and then everyone would move into my house. They immediately started a group chat and tried to persuade me to let everyone take refuge in my house and join forces to fight against the insane and relentless Chen Zhenghao. I also mentioned that my house has a balcony and sturdy security doors, which makes it a great stronghold to stand up against Chen Zhenghao. I snorted at this. Without hesitation, I replied coldly, I'm enjoying my life alone, so stop dreaming. Right after Wang Min, his colleague Sun Jichao stood on the moral high ground and criticized. Now everyone is in danger. You can't ignore the safety of your neighbors' lives. That's 7 or 8 lives. I do know these 7 or 8 people, but when I think about myself being persecuted to death in the previous life, I will no longer be soft-hearted. After all, in the past life, when my neighbors were persecuting me, they were all involved in it. During the apocalypse, discussing humanity with me is pointless. The right choice is to survive on my own. As soon as I send a voice message, you all mean nothing to me. What does it have to do with me? If you want to confront Chen Zhenghao, then I just left the group chat. These people are dreaming if they think they can take advantage of me. Don't even think about trying to manipulate me with morality. If I lose my own moral compass, Fan angrily scolded Zhang Yi, calling him a heartless scum. Wang Min looked at Fan Yiqing and said lightly, I let you stay here because of my cousin Zhou Pen's face. If you hadn't mentioned Zhang Yi, I wouldn't have agreed to let you stay in my house. Seeing that they were about to be kicked out, Fan Yiqing and Lin Xining panicked. Hurry up and bring out the photos I sent to them before. There are red wine, steak, and various delicious foods. The best part is there's even a fireplace, which made everyone in the room light up with excitement. Sun Jichao pushed his glasses glasses up, and since he didn't agree, let's go on the offensive. With selfish people like him, we have to use some special tactics. The guy with the blonde hair immediately nodded. I used to work at a locksmith company. There's no lock I can't open. As soon as he said that, Fan Ki's excitement was almost jumping up. You scum, Zhang Yi. Without the security door as a barrier, let's see how long you can keep acting smug. I got dirtied with sewage earlier. This time they prepared umbrellas, foolishly thinking it would block my plants. At this moment, Fan is already imagining a scenario where they will punish me. After opening the door, I laughed out loud at the house watching the surveillance. And with that clumsy maneuver, you're trying to pry open the door to my house. This is equipped with a 10-layer defense system, comparable to the security doors in a bank vault. Are you saying the security company I hired for 10 million is useless? Randomly tapped my finger on the defense system. The yellow-haired person focused on unlocking the door, but suddenly got electrocuted with a powerful electric shock all over the body. After a crackle of electricity, smoke started rising from the blonde hair, accompanied by a burnt smell. Her arm was stuck on the door handle, which made Fan Qingqing scream and wet her pant. The man wearing glasses, furious at the scene of his longtime friend's tragic death, immediately shouted angrily, Zhang Yi, you beast, come out and fight me. Wang Min also raised his voice and scolded. We were trying to negotiate a cooperation with you in a civilized manner, but you resorted to such brutal killings. You were even more devilish than the devil Chen Zhenghao. I coldly responded, while filling up the rusty crossbow with one hand. Stop pretending. All this nonsense about negotiation and cooperation. You just want to break in and kill me, and then you just take over my home and enjoy the safe haven I created. Right, you even had the audacity to suggest I stay in the master bedroom, as if you have the final say once you move in. You should think carefully. This is my house. Why do you act like the owner and make decisions here? Just bring it on if you've got what it takes. By the time I replied, the gun in my hand was already loaded. I'm watching their every move on the surveillance, so I'll join you guys for some fun. The hunting moment is about to begin. I then smirked devilishly and aimed at the target hole. Whoosh! The man wearing glasses was shot in the right arm. Xiu Pen and another man stepped forward to help. I calmly shot 2 arrows in quick succession again. 3 people were all shot in the arm. Several people ran away in panic. I aimed to avoid vital areas and make them suffer a painful and miserable death. Several people came back running like scared dogs, trembling with fear afterwards. Zhang Yi is really ruthless. At this moment, Wang Min also scaredly realized that these arrows were all rusty. They know well that without antibiotics, they will die if infected. The man with glasses cannot accept this reality. He understands the consequences, and the fear of death instantly overwhelms him. There was a sudden loud slap as Wang Min angrily slapped Fan Yiqing. You jerk. All of this is because of you. Why didn't he mention the arrows at his house? Are you trying to get us all killed? Fan Yiqing was stunned by the slap, covering her face and responded in distress. I don't know why he has arrows. Last time, he just splashed some dirty water. Seeing the beloved goddess slapped by her cousin, Xiu Pen walked over to stand in front of Fan Yiqing, enduring intense pain. Don't be mad, cousin. Yiqing is just a simple girl. How could she know? Wang Min was so frustrated, watching his cousin act so foolishly, that he almost had a heart attack. He yelled, "Get out of here!" The man wearing glasses walked over to calm her down. Now that a few of us are injured and in need of care, let her stay. In order to avoid being kicked out, the 2 scheming women quickly caught on and immediately crouched down to help them with their injuries, while Wang Min dialed Dr. Zhou's phone number. Zhou arrived at the scene carrying a medical kit. Another arrow wound. Doctor, Zhou said after examining the injury. This injury is too severe. We need to use professional equipment to perform surgery as soon as possible. Otherwise, the consequences will be unimaginable. Wang Min, who has always presented herself as a strong woman, couldn't help but shed tears at that moment. After all, these people are her closest friends and cousin. Wang Min couldn't help but curse angrily. Zhang Yi, this demon, even if we're trying to take over his house, we have no intention of taking his life. Zhou Kar heard the name Zhang Yi, and it reminded her of him. She found it hard to believe that such a sunny and handsome man could be so cruel. But from their words, she could roughly understand the situation, and she knew that none of them deserved too much sympathy. Zhou Kar stood up and said lightly, "We must have medication on hand, or else they could be in danger at any moment." Suddenly Fan Yiqing remembered something and exclaimed, "I remember Shan Yi has medicine at home. Just 1 month ago, Shan Yi started hoarding goods like crazy. One day, I saw a medical company delivering goods to him. There must be the medicine we need in there." The man wearing glasses sat up in surprise upon hearing that Zhang Yi had medicine in his hand, as if grabbing onto a life-saving straw. Zhou Kar thought for a moment and then said, "Antibiotics are the most common medication. If we knew about a disaster, in advance and stocked up on medication. Antibiotics would definitely be essential. The guy with glasses is shaking all over in pain. Hurry up and go see Johnny for some medicine. He's the one who made us suffer like this. He must give us the medicine to help me. Wang Min is well aware that this is no easy task. He clearly wanted to eliminate everyone just now. How is it possible for him to hand over the medicine now? Fang Qiqin, filled with righteous anger, said, "We didn't mean to harm him. We just wanted to break in and take some supplies. We wouldn't have taken everything. We would have left some for him. It's him who pushed us to a corner and caused our deaths. Justice is on our side." Zhou Kar was speechless at the words. This woman is really logical, but it's none of his business. Dr. Zhou didn't make any more comments. She took out the first aid kit to stop the bleeding for a few people. The medicine box is running low on supplies. After all, we have spent quite a bit on treating Chen Zhanghao before. We don't have any medicine right now, so we can only try to pull out the arrow and bandage it up for now. At least it will make the pain less unbearable. At this point, they still believe they have done nothing wrong. They think they're just trying to survive. They blame Zhang Yi for being selfish and greedy, wondering why he gets to enjoy better living conditions. At this moment, Wang Min suddenly reached out and pointed at Fang Yichang. The matter of going to Zhang Yi's place to get the medicine can only be left to you, because everything is because of you. And I heard that Zhang Yi is interested in you, so you must handle this matter yourself. The bespectacled man also weakly voiced his agreement. At this moment, Zhou Pan, the master of flattery, came over. Although he was reluctant, he let the goddess go to plead with the rival. The severe pain in his arm reminded him that this might be the last hope. Then he said, "Qin, we can only rely on you. After all, I can protect you only if I am alive." Once this is said, Fang Qiqin has no choice but to agree. Even if she doesn't want to, she knows she can still use Zhou Pan, or else she will be kicked out by Wang Min any minute. Maybe the next day, I'll become Chen Zhanghao's toy. Fan, with a reluctant heart, mustered up the courage to call Zhang Yi. Crying as she spoke, Min's colleague was electrocuted by you. 3 other people have also been hit by your rusty arrows, and they will die soon if we don't have any medicine. Can you give them some medicine? At this moment, Zhang Yi simply replied casually, "Since ancient times, who hasn't died? Whether early or late, we all end up dead anyway. You don't really believe that you can survive in this Francine apocalypse, do you?" Now the heavy snow has covered almost 10 meters, and when supplies run out, freezing or starving to death is inevitable. Fang Qingqing shakily sobbed, "Zhang Yi, please give me a chance. It was my fault for not agreeing to your pursuit before, but now they are in danger of dying. Times are tough, and we should help each other. Can you please not be so heartless? Does it make you happy when they die?" I didn't expect Zhang Yi to respond so decisively, saying, "You got it right. I'm feeling great." Upon hearing this, Wang Min snatched the phone angrily and shouted, "Zhang Yi, don't be too ruthless in what you do. We are all neighbors. We will meet again in the future. This time you gave us the medicine. I, Wang Min, will definitely repay your kindness." Zhang Yi sneered and said, "Talking about nonsense favors, when I shot the poison arrow, I had already decided that I wanted them to be infected and suffer a painful death. That's my purpose. There's the body of one of your accomplices outside my door. This score is settled. Nah, it's too naive to let me give medicine to those who want to harm me." Wang Min still wants to explain that we are absolutely not that kind of people. At this moment, Zhang Yi had an evil idea in his mind. As he knew the other person's phone must be on speakerphone, he immediately pretended to be sentimental and said, "Well, I did have feelings for Yiqing before. I could consider only inviting her over. As for others, I don't want to carry so much burden." Upon hearing this, Fang Qiqing couldn't contain her excitement and jumped up on the spot. Just the thought of escaping her current hellish life made her more excited than drinking milk. She immediately snatched the phone and said, "Zhang Yi, I'm coming over right now. I'll listen to you for everything. Qing'er will follow your lead. You can do whatever you want."